Guys, we wish 2024 didn't have to end, because let's be honest, 2025 hasn't started the way we hoped for Liverpool. First, a draw against Manchester United at Anfield, and now a loss to Spurs in the EFL Cup semi-final. Not exactly the dream start, is it? Now, sure, losing the first leg isn't as bad as dropping 3 points in the league, especially since there's still a second leg to play at Anfield, but that doesn't mean we can just brush off the result or the performance. In fact, you always learn more from a loss than you ever could from a win. So, in today's video, we're going to break down why Liverpool struggled against Spurs' game plan, what the solutions could be, and one crucial area Arne Slot has to work on to keep things from spiraling in the coming weeks. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and let's dive right into it. Arne Slot went with a strong lineup yesterday, even with a few tweaks here and there. Alisson stayed between the posts, while the backline featured Conor Bradley, Jarell Quansah, and Kostas Tsimikas lining up alongside Virgil van Dijk. The midfield remained unchanged, with Ryan Gravenberch, Alexis Mac Allister, and Curtis Jones all starting. Dominik Szoboszlai, unfortunately, was still unavailable due to illness. As for the attack, we saw the return of Diogo Jota, who joined Cody Gakpo and Mo Salah up front. As expected, we started the game in our usual 4-1 build-up shape, with Gravenberch operating as the lone pivot behind Mac Allister and Curtis Jones. Spurs, on the other hand, typically defend in a 4-1-4-1 shape before triggering their high man-to-man press. But last night they switched things up, opting for a 4-2-3-1 formation. In this setup, their two pivots closely marked our number 8s, while their number 10 kept Gravenberch in check. Dominic Solanke was tasked with forcing our build-up to one side by curving his run toward Quansah, effectively shutting down the passing lane to Van Dijk. Once that was done, the rest of the Spurs players would spring into their man-to-man press. Even when Van Dijk had possession, Solanke was able to adjust his run, cutting off forward passing options for our Dutchman, and allowing the route back to Quansah on the right-hand side. This caused us plenty of problems, as both Quansah and Bradley struggled to handle the pressure. It's a clear reminder of just how crucial Ibrahima Konate and Trent Alexander-Arnold are to our build-up play. Both players have the ability to break through the lines or bypass the press entirely, something the right-hand side of our defence found difficult to replicate yesterday. But to be fair, Spurs' approach wasn't the only reason we struggled to build out from the back. Now, this might be a bit controversial, but hear us out. Ryan Gravenberch has undoubtedly been one of our standout players this season. There's no question about it, he's completely turned his Liverpool career around under Arne Slot and has become a key figure in our system. However, despite being excellent under pressure, he doesn't quite give us the solution we need when teams press us high in a man-to-man system. And this is something we've been pointing out since our opening game against Ipswich. When teams apply such intense pressure, you need players to stay in constant motion, dragging their markers around, creating space, and opening up passing lanes for teammates. Unfortunately, Gravenberch's lack of off-ball movement, or let's just say his limitations in this area, doesn't help in these situations. This is exactly why the club had Zubimendi at the top of their list last summer. To fully implement Arne Slot's patient build-up approach against any team or pressing system, you need a dynamic metronomic number 6. And while Gravenberch has been brilliant this season, delivering some stellar performances, he simply isn't that type of midfielder. His lack of constant movement in the defensive third limits his effectiveness in these situations. Take this moment as an example. Quansah plays the ball out to Bradley on the touchline. In this situation, Gravenberch should have dropped deeper to either create space for a teammate or offer Bradley a passing option. Instead, he stayed rooted to his spot. Even when Quansah received the ball back from Bradley, Gravenberch didn't continue his run into space to provide an outlet. This left Jarell, who struggled during his brief appearance before being subbed off, with no choice but to go long without a clear target. Unsurprisingly, this led to us losing possession. Let's be clear, guys, this is in no way, shape or form a dig at Gravenberch. He's been an absolute revelation this season, and we're not saying he should be benched. But if after all this time, he still can't perform that metronomic number 6 role, then maybe the club needs to seriously consider bringing in someone new for that position, while allowing Gravenberch the freedom to operate higher up the pitch, where he can be even more effective. Now, at this point, you might think Liverpool were completely out of the game, with Spurs suffocating us through their pressing. But that wasn't the case at all. As the first half went on, we gradually began to grow into the game, controlling more of the possession compared to the opening 30 minutes. The reason? As always, it came down to Arne Slot's brilliant in-game management, which, by the way, has already won us several points this season. The tweaks were simple yet effective. Introduce more movement and rotations to counter Spurs' man-to-man marking system, creating space and opening up passing lanes to find the free man. Both Jones and, in particular, McAllister began dropping deeper to receive passes from Alisson and the centre-backs, providing more support in the build-up. Gravenberch also pushed wider at times to drag his marker away and create space. Meanwhile, Diogo Jota dropped into midfield and drifted wide to help open up spaces for his teammates. Conor Bradley, on the other hand, tucked inside and started making runs into the half space to further disrupt Spurs' defensive shape. Put all these movements together and you can see just how much more dynamic Liverpool became compared to the first 30 minutes. This increased dynamism also coincided with us gaining more control over the game. Unfortunately, it still wasn't enough to create many clear-cut chances. And even when we did, the quality of our shots wasn't great, or Spurs' new keeper, who was outstanding by the way, pulled off a brilliant save like the one against Darwin. Now, would you believe us if we told you that our build-up struggles and the way Spurs pressed us weren't even the biggest issues of the night? That's right, our own pressing game left a lot to be desired. So let us break down what went wrong. We primarily pressed with a front three consisting of Salah, Jota and Jones, with Jones taking on a hybrid role, covering Bissouma while also pressing Spurs keeper. However, this approach left us at a numerical disadvantage, as Ange deployed 4 players including the keeper in their build-up. On top of that, mistimed pressing runs allowed situations like this to happen, where Spurs were able to find passes to their wide centre-backs. From there, Spurs' wide rotations created further problems for us. Players like Porro, who inverted into midfield, were able to receive the ball and play quick bounce passes into central areas, effectively breaking through our press. Why did we only press with 3 players, you may ask? Well, that mainly comes down to the role Cody Gakpo plays when we're out of possession. In this example, you can see the front 3 getting ready to press, but you'll also notice Gakpo positioned on the second line of our defence, deeper in our own third, marking Porro in the left half space. When the pressing trio pounces on the ball, along with Gravenberch or Bradley stepping up from the right-hand side, Gakpo stays with Porro in midfield. This, unfortunately, leaves Spurs with an extra man in their defensive third, allowing them to switch play and escape the press. Now, obviously, this isn't an ideal structure. Our press was bypassed more often than we like, and even when we triggered a high man-to-man press, Spurs were able to find Dominic Solanke with balls over the top. That said, there are still some benefits to this approach. By using Gakpo as a third midfielder, we not only reduce the midfield gaps we struggled with earlier this season, but also provide better protection for our left channel. Gakpo's off-ball work is seriously underrated. For example, in the second half, we saw him covering for Tsimikas in the sequence that led to Alisson's error. In fact, Spurs noticeably started targeting our left-hand side more once Gakpo was subbed off. Speaking of Gakpo, we've got a special video coming soon about his contributions this season, so make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Now, back to our structure. Once again, it's not ideal. It gives the opposition numerical superiority, and, against a team with enough technically skilled players, they can easily play around or over our pressing front line. This could become a significant problem in the future. We'd suggest Liverpool consider going man-to-man more frequently, but we also understand how Arne Slot prefers to maintain a +1 on the backline. This typically means having 2 defenders marking the opposition striker. Moving forward, finding the right balance between maintaining defensive stability and pressing more aggressively will be crucial. Again guys, this loss might just turn out to be a blessing in disguise. We still have the second leg to play. It's better to lose a game like this than a crucial league match, and most importantly, we've already learned a lot from this performance. The season is still long, and let's not forget that we came into it as a team in transition. So let's stand behind our players and manager, and let's push together to make this the best season we possibly can. Now that we've said our piece, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. What did you think of our performance? Do you believe signing a new number 6 would improve our build-up? And should Arne Slot consider tweaking his out-of-possession approach? Let us know your thoughts below. If you enjoyed our analysis, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.